The Nun 2. This movie is not a movie I wanted to watch, but I needed a review for this week of a new movie. And The Nun 2 seemed like an option, I guess. And my family was like going to go watch Gran Turismo, and I had already seen it, and I thought it was okay. I didn't really need to go watch it and rush out again to go see it, sort of thing. It was like, yeah, it was okay. A movie I'll maybe buy on home video, like when it's cheap, and rewatch it, but I'm not gonna watch it now a second time in theaters. So I went to The Nun because it started at the same time, and it played in MPX, which I like. MPX. It's kind of like my theater's version of IMAX. It's got really good sound to it. Really worked for the atmosphere of this movie, and I was in a mostly empty theater for this boring ass movie. I should state up front, I did not like the first Nun. I do enjoy these Conjuring movies. Like, I enjoy the trilogy that we got, even though I think the third one's definitely the weakest. I enjoy one of the Annabelle movies. I forget which one that is. Fine enough. But everything else out of that Conjuring universe, like the rest of the Annabelle movies, La Llorona, and these Nun franchise, it's just not good. And this one isn't horrible like last one. I would say the last Nun movie is the worst horror movie I've probably ever seen. And I only say that because there's technically worse horror movies out there. Like, I think Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is pretty obviously worse than The Nun. But there's not a movie that you can find that's more bland and generic, in my mind, than The Nun. It's just the most boring, bland and generic horror movie ever made. So when it came to this movie, of course I wasn't excited to see about it, but I was also curious because some of the reviews were like, oh, it's better than the first one, and it was not. It was just mediocre. It wasn't as bad as the first one. This one actually had a couple good scares. I actually thought the direction was better in this one, which is cool, but it still wasn't enough to make it a good movie. I don't know, I thought this whole sequence with like the magazines are flipping and this nun's like staring at it, that was a cool bit of cinematography and visuals and a unique scare and something I hadn't seen before. But those are just glimmers throughout the movie. For the most part, this is a pretty generic Nun movie that's just what it is. And they're clearly like trying to introduce a new character in this movie that they're gonna like spin off into spin-offs or whatever. We'll see how that turns out. But it's like, God, can we stop? The Conjuring universe does not need to be a cinematic universe. It's really done a horrible job having this connective tissue. It's taken away from the actual Conjuring movies. I mean, we should have Conjuring 4 by now, but then we keep getting these spin-off movies that aren't very good and aren't the characters that I really want to see, and I think that's unfortunate. But I don't know, people like these movies. Cool, I guess. I didn't like it.